My name is Brady. I'm a Life Scout with Boy Scout Troop 42 in Louisville, Kentucky. For my Eagle project, I wanted to do something special and personal to me, but would also benefit others. I'm lucky to have had my grandfather around my entire life. He's a retired firefighter and a true hero. He is my hero.
What's the nature of your emergency?
Fire safety, especially at home, is a very important topic. I am in ninth grade.
He is there with early high school.
Do you want to see my badges?
That is a planet badge. That smells like saline. That is citizenship in the world.
You're looking good. Weather's pretty today. Today we have a special guest, okay? And we're going to have a special presentation today. I'd like to introduce you to our friend Brady McCall. He used to go to school here. Some of you know his brother, right? And he's now a freshman at DeSales High School. All right, and he is in the Scouts and is going to do a fire safety presentation for us today. And then I think I heard that there might even be a fire truck here today. If we're good and we listen really well today, I think we might get to go see that. I'm not sure yet though. So I'm going to pass it on over to Brady. Okay, here we go.
Four, three.
Remember, if there is a fire in your house, there are two ways out of your room. The door and where else?
We shot the scouts ahead of time, in front of green screens for a couple of reasons. One, so we could get good takes to play during the live presentation.
Firefighters invert their head, hands,
You're good.
head, hands, and face as well.
But also to be able to put them anywhere and have images relating to their topic playing behind them.
That's right, Brady. Good call.
Remember, if there is a fire in your house, there are two ways out of your room. The door and where else?
Good. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good.
Alright, come on in. So please sign in. I'm gonna put on my neckerchief and everything.
Okay. So, where are the smoke detectors in your house?
We have one at the foot of the steps up here. We have one right upstairs as soon as you come up, and we have one in all the kids' rooms. We have one right here. And all of our smoke detectors are battery operated.
When was the last time you checked them?
We checked them early April, so early last month.
Do you have any pictures of Tonka around?
I do. We have one of him and our family at vacation in Orlando at Universal Studios. It was pretty fun.
You know how we were able to afford that vacation?
Thanks to
Yeah, Granddad and Grandlady left us a very nice inheritance, which we were able to spend on you guys so we could have a great trip down to Florida.
All right. So this is Tonka's house, and if you want to see, there's a funny picture of me downstairs.
Okay.
All right. Funny picture of me when I was a kid. For Halloween, I dressed up as a firefighter. I think I was like 1 there. What was this board for?
This is what my firefighters gave me when I retired. It's ornamental axe. It never got used, but this is the date I entered the fire department. This is when I became a sergeant. This date is when I became a captain. This date is when I became a major, and this is my retirement date. And these are just insignias we wore on our sleeves. This plaque right here was given to me when I retired, denoting the my rank and years of service that I had. This picture right here was the very first fire department picture I had taken. It was my graduation class back in 1978. Of course, these are all pictures of me and your aunts and uncles. This is a watercolor that I did, that Madison did of me when she was 2 years old. Different sporting things from my kids. This one right here is when I made Firefighter of the Year. My younger brother drew a picture of me catching a oversized woman. This is another retirement gift that I got. This again is a gift from my uncle, who's a pretty good artist, and when I made Firefighter of the Year. And this picture right here is the one right before I retired. My wife had all of my medals and medallions put together in one plaque, so it would be easy to see everything that I wore during my days. I don't know if you can see this or not. This is the award I was given when I was named Firefighter of the Year. This is just another plaque I was given when I retired from the Union. This has no fire department value, but was my very first hole-in-one. So I'm pretty proud of that. And if you can remember,
I remember that.
this is what you gave me. What was it?
It was in 2nd grade. It
Yeah.
says "My Hero,"
Yeah.
and I chose.
And then of
Tonka
course
here.
you made that for me when you graduated from Brady School.
I wrote a poem for
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
I thought it would be fun for the kids to have an interaction with us during the presentation. And how fun would it be if they could actually interact with the TV?
4, 3.
We shot Tonka doing all sorts of things, wrong and crazy, with the intent of having the kids yell at the screen. It gets them involved, they have fun, and hopefully they retain a lot of what we covered.
5, 4, 3.
Boy, am I tired. I should get some sleep tonight. Smoke detector? The smoke detector's going off. I forgot what to do.
Action. And cut.
Morning. How are you doing today?
Doing well, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for inviting me over. I appreciate it.
Please come sign in.
Certainly.
How are you doing, good guy?
Doing well. Good to see you. Haven't seen you
Appreciate
since
your
Fish
help.
Fry. Oh, hell, he's one of the good ones. So, what's
Did I
that?
get your water?
No, I'm good. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. All right.
Please let's see you.
Thank you.
Sit down right here. Basically, you're just gonna ask me basic questions about the project, about me, about Tonka, about whatever you need to ask.
So
Brady, what I ask most scouts when we talk about their project is, why did you choose this individual project, and what does it mean to you?
This project is very important to me. I wanted to do something very special, not only for the kids, but with my grandpa as well, because we do have a very close relationship. I've been around fire safety since I can remember. I think my first memory of like doing a fire safety thing is my grandpa reading me a book to me and my cousin about like fire safety and how firefighters work, and I just think that's pretty cool.
So what's your current rank right now in Troop 42?
Currently I am a Life Scout, which is the step right before Eagle. It took me 3 years to get there, and I've been pushing really hard to get my Eagle project done. I got my Tenderfoot, first class, second class, all that within my first year of scouting. Then the year later I had Star, the year later I had Life, and I'm now going on my second year for Life, and I'm hopefully going to get Eagle very soon.
You have all your Eagle badges complete?
Not quite. I'm very close to getting my cooking badge, which is the only one I need. Other than that, I have everything.
So, is this project something that you've been working on for a while, or did you just get started on this, or what kind of time frame have we got here?
This project has now been in production for about a year, maybe a little over a year. I've started this back last year with the concept of maybe I could do something with fire safety with my grandpa to inform children about fire safety and to make sure home fires are very less common. My time put into this has been the scripts, rewriting of scripts, rewriting of the rewrites. I've shot about 4 times before this interview today with my scouts, my fellow scouts, at a meeting behind a green screen. I toured a firehouse to get information from firefighters and to see how they live and how they interact. And this isn't only going to be a presentation for the kids. This is going to be a documentary of how I shot, how I filmed, how I wrote, and how I presented this topic to the kids.
As you know, I sit on a lot of Eagle boards outside of our troop, but again, what I want to know from you is, who's going to benefit from this, and is it just going to be the particular people that you talk to, or is this going to be available to other folks to look at this film?
Certainly the kids there will benefit from this project, and hopefully the parents and teachers. But with technology today, the worldwide audience could potentially learn from this.
I think that's admirable, because even though that's our school, I think that all the kids could benefit from some fire safety. And we all remember when we were younger, we were taught stop, drop, and roll,
Yeah.
but you're getting into a lot more depth than that.
Now, don't diminish stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll is a very important skill. But yes, we are going to go into having smoke detectors and what to do if the smoke detector actually goes off.
Your grandfather is a retired firefighter from the Louisville Metro Fire Department, and I'm sure that as you grew up, you heard a lot of different stories from him. So give me a few of those stories. I'd like to hear them.
My grandpa and I, every year, would always go down to the Great Louisville Fire Drill, which is this event held down by the waterfront, downtown. We would go down there, participate in events such as get low, practicing getting low in case of smoke, and we'd climb out a window. It's this fun little booth thing that they do, and I enjoyed it. They would also have live firefighters there, fire trucks, mascots, and other fun activities. In the end, it was very educational, it was enjoyable, much like I hope my presentation to be.
Do you have any aspirations of following your grandfather's footsteps, possibly?
Although I won't be following directly in his footsteps, becoming a firefighter, I do plan on helping other people in another way. I plan on going through the Naval Academy and becoming someone who deals with cybersecurity. Although I won't be protecting people from fire, I'll be protecting people with a cyber threat.
Awesome, that's good. My brother was Master Chief Petty Officer in the Navy for 26 years, and he made a career out of it, and he lived and died in the Navy. And ahead of time, I'm going to thank you for your service, because I wish more boys would take that interest at your age and then aspire and go on and follow through.
I feel that I'm already preparing for the military with Boy Scouts. Boy Scouts is very much like the military with our uniforms, our ceremonies, our patriotism, and we help people nationwide.
That's all I've got.
Alright, thank you.
This is probably one of the better projects I've worked on. I like who your benefactor is, the fact that all of these school kids are going to get something out of it.
One of the good points we're trying to bring across is that these kids take this knowledge home. And a lot of the parents don't follow the directions that they're supposed to about smoke detectors, different things. And, if we can get one kid to go home and say, have we checked our smoke detector this month yet? Or do we need to change the batteries in it? It could very easily save a life.
Have one working smoke detector.
One working smoke detector.
On each floor of your house.
Test your smoke detectors.
Test your smoke detectors.
Once a month.
Change the batteries.
Change the batteries.
In your smoke detectors twice a year.
Twice a year.
Twice a year.
I wanted everyone to be able to see what the inside of a firehouse was actually like.
Can you all sign in, please? This is just so I have everything in order.
He needs to get all this stuff.
These firefighters actually live and work there for weeks at a time. And seeing it and experiencing it gave me a sense of what it was actually like for my grandfather.
Lead us on a tour of the firehouse?
My name's Brady McCall. For those of you who don't know, ex-Major David Urton is my grandfather, and he brought us here today so we can give the kids a tour of the firehouse and see all that goes on inside.
Captain Thomas Campbell. I'm with the Louisville Fire Department for 21 years. Go around, this is the apparatus bay. This is where the equipment is stored. We keep it in a ready position at all times. Morning checks are done, and every day it's gone through and whatever needs to be done. And fourth down, we do it then, and it's ready to go. Yeah, this is our dorm room. This is where we sleep. There's 5 firefighters assigned here per shift. This is just where we sleep at night, and when if a run comes in during the night while we're sleeping, the lights come on, and then there's speakers around. They tell us where we're going, and get dressed and get in and go. We run 3 shifts. This is 2nd platoon. Tomorrow will be 3rd, and then it just goes 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Every 3 days, this group will be here. This is just kind of make sure this is where we work out. We come in here and try to get a little exercise each day.
I don't know, do they still require you to take a physical fitness test?
We take a fitness test once a year, and they're revamping that right now. It's getting a little bit different. They're kind of cracking down on the fitness part of it. So that's once a year. Everybody goes through a fitness thing, and then once a year we all have a medical. We go and have a full medical with everything just to make sure that nothing's going on with each person. This is just another apparatus bay. This firehouse is on a airport. So we've got a crash truck. This is the Louisville International Airport's truck that they leave here for us to use for in case there's an incident with the aircraft. And we man that, we check it out each day. This mule is fairly new. We use that for the park and to get access to the wooded area. We had a fire in the woods just a couple months ago, and we used that and it worked real well. But we can respond to that if we need to. We got a kitchen up here. We're here 24 hours a day, so we eat 2 meals. We eat lunch and dinner.
Once a week. The Saturdays are traditionally days that some of our houses will cook chili.
But this is the kitchen. This is where we eat, prepare the food. We buy all our own food. Everybody, people in the community think that the city buys our food. They don't. We buy everything. They get upset because we take a fire truck to the store, but we have to because that's how we respond.
That's the cook for the day.
Yeah, that's what the cook looks like today. You can start if you want.
This here is a hose dryer. When they make a fire and this cotton hose gets wet, if you put it back on wet, it's going to mold and mildew. So when they get it cleaned off, they'll stick it in the dryer here, kind of flail it out a little bit so it dries evenly, and then once it's good and dry, they'll put it on the hose dryer.
Years ago, back when he was here, I've driven him many times, and that's all we had to go by was this map. Now we do have GPS in the truck. We've got an iPad which will tell us our route. It tells us pretty much everything. This here is just a room that we can, this is where we can watch TV, whatever guys do, we get together here at night and just kind of, since we're here 24 hours a day, we just, this is where we kind of relax a little bit after, usually after 8 o'clock is when everybody's allowed, we can go to bed, and that's when you guys can stop studying. This is the men's locker room. Everybody's assigned a locker, which you keep extra clothes and whatever you need, showers, toilets, and then we've got another one. It's a female dorm, and their locker room if there's a female assigned. We've got a few of them. None assigned to this house right now, but we can detail them. And that's about pretty much all for this firehouse. What's the average time for a firefighter to get dressed in the truck? We are supposed to be turned out, that's what they call getting dressed, on the truck and moving within a minute. That's what they do. And they watch, they keep track of our turnout times. For med runs and for fire runs, they keep track. And once a month they post them, we can look, and then they put bar graphs as which company's doing better. So it's kind of like a competition. Well, it is more of a pride thing. You take pride in doing your job. It's just a way that they can kind of keep track. This is another. This is what we call a joker stand. It's the radio room. It's years ago they used to monitor the radio.
When there wasn't many phones available, we had a lot more fire alarm boxes where you pull the lever down and it goes off. And why this is called the joker room is there was a machine that tapped out the location of where that fire alarm box was pulled. In other words, if it was 5th and Broadway, that code might be 535. So it would click out 5, break 3, then 5, and then you knew where to go. So we didn't have the elaborate systems that they have now that allow them to do their job much better and much more efficiently.
This apparatus it's called a Quint. Quint means 5 functions. We've got 2 of them in the city. Most of the apparatus in the city are either an engine or a truck. We've got 8 truck companies in the city limits. Each fire will get 2 trucks. And then there's multiple engines, and each fire will get 3 engines. So you get 2 trucks, 3 engines, and then a battalion chief. I decide as soon as I pull up whether I'm going to lay lines or whether we're going to just do full truck functions. If there's rescue, we will abandon the lines and we'll just go in for rescue. We'll let the next company lay our lines for us. We don't carry as much hose as an engine, but we do have a pretty fair amount of hose on here. 100-foot aerial ladder. It can seat 6 members, but we don't ever ride 6.
Used to.
We used to. Yeah, we would. I would like to. And the reason for was 6. With a Quint with 6, you could have 2 guys laying a line, 2 guys doing interior work, and you can have 2 guys doing exterior work, which is the perfect. That's the perfect way of staffing this truck, but we don't ever get to staff.
Once you're retired, you're retired. They don't bother you after that. But there is situations where guys that are off duty will be called in to work. As Captain Campbell said, there are 3 different shifts. So if there's a big fire, 4-alarm fire, 5-alarm fire, then off-duty shifts will be called in to assist. And they ride on auxiliary fire trucks that we have around the city that are available in case there is a large fire somewhere.
Truly, we're on call every day. We can at any time get called in. It's the furnace, like in the fall when you're first firing up furnaces, we get some spikes then a little bit. Winter months where the furnaces, when it's real cold and the furnaces are working a little bit harder, we get then. And then in the summer, weekends are a little bit busier than the weeks. People out moving around, but other than that, there's just no. Cooking, like kitchen fires, stove, food on the stove or grease boiling over, burning up in the kitchen, one room or something. I usually don't get. They can get there. That's usually the most common.
Depends on how quick they're called. Usually you can put a grease fire or stove fire out in a matter of minutes. Right. But if the fire department's not called early enough, then that's when things get out of hand.
Run volume, it varies. This truck will do, some days will be 10, 11, 12 runs a day, and then some days, we had a day last week where we went 24 hours without making a run. That's rare, but it'll happen.
Whenever there is a medical emergency anywhere, the EMS and the fire department are called. And since there are more fire trucks available than EMS trucks, usually the firefighters are the first on the scene, and they're supplied with EMTs, and a few fire companies even have paramedics. They can render assistance until an actual ambulance arrives on the scene. So that makes up a good amount of the runs that these guys have to deal with.
Nothing does.
I tell you what messes with me more than anything when I was working is people will have an emergency. Well, not yet an emergency. It'll turn into an emergency. Like, for instance, this guy's basement was flooding, and he knew where the shutoff was for the water, and he knew it was getting high toward the electrical panel. And we walked into the house, this guy sitting there watching TV, and I asked him, I said, why aren't you shutting the water off? Well, I didn't want to go down there and maybe get electrocuted. And I guess he had kind of a point, but here I am doing the same thing that he should have done in the first place. And things like that really get you mad when the civilian population doesn't do as much as they can to help prevent an emergency.
I look at it as if they dial 911, they didn't know what to do, and if we can come, I always say that the fire department is the panic call.
If one of you could demonstrate what a firefighter would look like with a beard.
Now, when the alarm goes off, the firefighter gets into his boots with his pants or Nighthawks straight down there and pulls them on. Obviously, this protects his feet and his legs. Next, he puts his hood on. That obviously protects his neck, ears, and head. Then his coat, arms and chest. And this is what he gets on the fire apparatus with. Unless things have changed, Tom. Nope. Until they get to the fire scene, he'll not put his gloves on, he'll not put his helmet on, or he won't put his air tank on until they get to the fire scene or an emergency scene to see what it all he's going to need to be wearing. And obviously, if there's a fire, they're going to put their SCBA tank on, which is a self-contained breathing apparatus, and it's done while they're driving. When they get to a scene, they can see if there's going to be a fire. And that straps around their waist and their chest.
This gear that he's putting on weighs probably 75 to 80 pounds. And that's not including the tools. Everybody takes in a tool, whether it be an axe, a hook. Depending on what the run is, it'll be, when I get off, I'll usually tell them what I want them to bring.
Go ahead here, Matt.
Okay. When it is a fire, we'll go to the front door before we go in. He will turn his air on. Pulls the hood back over, that protects his ears, and he's fully protected. Put his helmet back on.
And lastly, of course, his gloves. Whatever tools or equipment he's going to take, he's ready to go inside with a fire hose, or he's ready to go inside with an axe or a small ladder or whatever. But go ahead.
That beeping you just heard, if he was to go down, get trapped, to get his foot stuck, or somewhere where he can't move, just stand still. That beeping will go off. When you hear that first little bit of beeping, that lets him know that he's not moving, he's got to move. If he still doesn't move, that's his warning. If he still doesn't move, then it starts getting louder. And that's how he would find us if he was down inside. Or it might be him and his partner. We always travel in twos, there's always two guys together. But it could be both of them. But if they were motionless, that's what's going to bring us to it. We also carry these. These send a signal to a computer that's kept in the back of the district car. And this, once that's activated, it shows his name on there. If he gets in trouble, if he can hit the button and put off a signal to that, it's going to tell the battalion chief which member is in trouble. It's just a couple of different safety features, but they work real well. It's you know, the noise, it gets pretty loud, and you can hear it pretty good if you've got to go and find something.
Still carry the tags, or is that been off?
No, we still got tags too. They're on the board in here, and that's got.
Thank you.
And everybody's got a tag like this. It's got the member's name and everything, and it can be cut open, and inside has got all your medical information. If he was to get hurt, have to go to the hospital, this tag would accompany him to the hospital. They can cut it open. Any allergies or anything he's got, medications, whatever, will be inside this tag, as long as it's been updated.
A little bit of picture of your onboard display.
This will be how our runs will come in. This sits in the truck, and this was the run we made earlier today. Taylorsville Road, it's a medical call, but they will, information that we need, they will list here. So as we're responding, I can be reading this information. There's also a button up here which will pull up a map. This will show me where I'm at and how to get there.
All of us are in this district here, so keep up with
Yeah, we do. I know exactly where we live. So.
Well, he lives right across the street.
Oh, okay. I know exactly where he lives then.
It used to be like we saw the map over there. If the sergeant wasn't exactly sure, or the officer wasn't exactly sure where they wanted to go, they'd have to go over there, and there's grids on that map. And they check out grid C4, and that's where the street is. And then they hopped on a truck and went. Right here is intakes and discharge gates for the water system. Of course, as Campbell told you, there are fire hose and pumps and a water tank. These big intakes are used to go into the hydrants, and that will give you more than enough water. I mean, 5 inches was unheard of when I came in the fire department.
We carry 2 pre-connected lines. There's actually 3 because one's split. But pre-connected lines. We've got a hose reel that we use for smaller things. If it's a car fire, anything like that, we always use our 1.5-inch lines. We've got foam. This apparatus carries B foam. Most of the other engines in the city carry A, which is for like papers, woods, and stuff like that. When we got this, I wanted B foam because of the airport, because I'm more than likely, if my runs are going to be to the airport, I'm going to need B foam. If I'm on a car wreck, which this truck goes to all car wrecks, I'm going to need B. If I'm overhauling a fire, I'm going to need A foam. There'll be plenty of engines there, and they all have it. So that's why I had them put this one with B foam, which works good. Then we have this is mostly just random tools. This is our rescue compartment. This is where all our rescue tools are kept. It's gotten smaller over the years.
Well, I'll say.
Yeah, it's real dependable.
That generator would have taken up that whole compartment back in the 2000s.
We've got some extension ladders, a straight beam roof ladder, just different. We don't have as many as the bigger trucks have because we just don't have the room. There's also a ladder, a roof ladder on the end, on the tip of the aerial ladder.
And this is the steps for the sergeant. The sergeant that also operates the hose lines will operate the aerial ladder as well.
The way I operate this truck is we divide into halves. Me and the firefighter behind me, I call it we're the inside crew, and then my sergeant and the firefighter behind him is going to be outside. So the more aggressive you are, the faster you can get it put out. Generally, if you can get on them, especially in apartment buildings, you can get on them pretty quick. You can knock them down. If not, they're going to get away from you real fast.
A lot of these apartment buildings and such have connecting attics. So once it gets up into one, it will spread like wildfire, literally, all the way down.
We've got a number of older apartment buildings around here, so it's real critical that we get there quick and try to get a knockdown as fast as we can, or you're going to lose quite a bit of the building. This truck has got an onboard generator, so we carry everything that we need. We've got electric on it, we've got lights, we've got portable lights. It's a toolbox, we've got saws, pretty much everything that we need to cut stuff apart, gain access to things. This is the pump panel. This is pretty much where the water comes in, it boosts the pressure, and then we send it out where it needs to go. The ladder has got a pre-piped waterway, so we can put the aerial up in the air and we can flow 2,000 gallons a minute through that nozzle on the end of the ladder. And these are pretty much, all this is color coded, so if I'm fire with multiple lines, if it's a bigger fire, they start hooking lines. The sergeant can run around and just look like this is yellow. These tags are all color coded. They've got numbers on them too, but when you're running, not really running, but you're moving fast, you can look at, I got yellow, on the other side was orange. I need to charge the orange line. And then he comes over and he pulls these are, it's just a gated valve. It's just a quarter turn valve. That's all these do.
Do you remember your first on scene like fire?
Yeah, I remember my first day. First day on the street, I was assigned to truck 4. We made 3 fires in the same. My very first day on the job, I thought this was going to be a good job. But
I thought just the opposite. I made just a little bitty mattress fire, my first fire, and I didn't have my mask on tight. And a lot of guys didn't even wear a mask back then. But I lifted my head up and smoke just went whoosh right down me. I bet I crawled over 3 people trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
I said, what have I got myself into? But then eventually you learn, and
yeah,
I can't imagine a better job for myself and for a lot of guys.
Yeah, it pretty much everybody that's doing this job, they like the job. They don't complain. They complain about something, but it's not really about the job. It's just part of the day, just to make it go by.
Thank you for showing me around and
Okay.
telling me what you do in and around the firehouse.
All right, no problem. Glad you guys came by to see us, and this is public. Anybody can come anytime, and we like to show little kids, teach them fire safety or just little things.
It's what this project is for. And if you want, everything should be said and done around late May, early June. You can look it up, and I can get my grandpa to send you the link.
Where are you going to post it?
How you do.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming to visit.
Dial 911
if there's an emergency.
Dial 911 if there's an emergency.
So, my badges, as you can see, they come in various types. The most important merit badge to me would be the personal fitness merit badge, just because it allows you to get fit, get healthy, and it prepares you, prepares me for what I plan on doing in my future life. The hardest merit badge for me to get probably was let's see here, the citizenship and the community merit badge, because there's a lot of stuff that you have to do for it. You have to go to meetings with the city council, you have to do various things with your troop, so it just took me a lot longer to get this merit badge. The coolest merit badge would be my film studies merit badge. I got to make several movies because of this. it was just fun going through the class, learning about the history of film.
So I'm going to pass it on over to Brady. Okay, here we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are y'all doing today? Excellent. Thank you all for coming today. We are going to be learning about a very important topic for everyone: fire safety in and around your home. My name is Brady McCall. I went to school here too. I am currently a Life Scout and I'm going for my Eagle. The Eagle Scout rank is the highest rank you can achieve in Boy Scouts, and today this presentation will help me get it. To help me today, I've brought a very special guest, my grandfather, David Earp. I call him Tonka. Yeah, Tonka, yeah. He is a retired major for the Louisville Fire Department. I've also brought my fellow Scouts, both here with me today and on video. The first thing we're going to be talking about today is knowing your address and your phone number, as well as who to call if there's an emergency. Davis and Hal are going to be talking about that.
Thank you, Brady. It's very important to know your home address. The numbers outside your home should be clearly visible. They should be at least 4 inches tall and not blocked by leaves or bushes. If there is an emergency at your home, first responders like police, EMS, or firefighters need to see the numbers on your home so they can get to you quickly.
It's also very important to know your phone number and how to use the phone in case there is an emergency. If there is an emergency at your home, dial 911 and tell the operator your address. If the emergency is a fire, don't call from your home. Leave your house immediately or call from outside or use a neighbor's phone.
Thank you, Davis and Hal. Now, raise your hand if you know your address. Very good. Now, raise your hand if you know your phone number. Excellent. Now, everyone together, what number do we call if there is an emergency? Good. Outstanding. Now, Quint and Eric are going to tell us the importance of having working smoke detectors in your home.
It is important that you have at least one smoke detector on each floor of your house. There are different kinds of smoke detectors. Some detectors are hardwired, which means that they are connected directly to the electrical wires. There are also lithium battery detectors, that last for 10 years. And some people have detectors that use a 9-volt battery.
Regardless of the type of detector you have, they should be tested once a month. There are buttons on your detector that you push to test your detector. If it beeps, your detector is working. Ask your parents what kind of detectors you have and ask them if you can help test them once a month. If your detectors are the 9-volt kind, the battery should be changed twice a year. He recommends when daylight savings time begins and ends.
Thank you, Quint and Eric. Now, raise your hands if you know you have a working smoke detector in your house. Good. Now, if you aren't sure, please ask your parents. And, like Eric said, ask your parents if you can help test them. Sometimes parents get forgetful and they need our help to remember things. Next, we're going to talk about what to do if the smoke detector goes off while you are sleeping. Let's now hear from Jake and Anthony.
If you hear your smoke detector beeping while you are sleeping, do not panic.
Slowly roll out of bed and start crawling towards the door. If there is smoke in your room, it will build up in the ceiling and slowly drift down. So stay low where the air is clear. Once you reach the door, feel it with the back of your hand. Do not touch the doorknob. If there's a fire outside your door, the metal doorknob will heat up fast and you can burn your hand if you touch it. The back of your hand is more sensitive to heat, and a wood door will not heat up as quickly as the doorknob.
If the door is not hot and there's no smoke coming in, you can open the door. While still crawling, and get out of the house. If the door is hot, do not open it. If there is smoke coming in, you can put a blanket or sheet at the base of your door to stop the smoke from coming in. Stay back and wait for help. Stay low to the ground and near the bed, where you will be easier to find.
Thank you, Jake and Anthony. Now, we're going to be talking about having an emergency escape plan if there's a fire in your home. Tommy and Max will tell us about that.
Remember, if there's a fire in your house, there are two ways out of your room. The door and where else?
Where else? I heard it. Window? Alright, yeah, that's right. Your window.
If your door is hot or there is smoke coming in, don't open it. Crawl to your window. If it is safe to stand, you can open it and leave your house through the window. If your bedroom is on the second floor, some people use a rope ladder. You hook to your windowsill and climb down the ladder. Remember, using a rope ladder takes a lot of practice, and you should only practice when your parents are with you.
If you don't have a rope ladder, just sit tight near your bed and someone will come and get you. You should also have an escape plan for every room in your house. Once you're outside, you need to have a safe meeting place, like a big tree or a neighbor's house. Once there, make sure everyone is accounted for and call 911. Never go back into your house for anything.
Thank you, Tommy and Max. That's right, guys. Never go back in your house for anything. That favorite toy of yours can be replaced. Things can be replaced. You cannot. Now, who here practices an emergency escape drill in their own home?
Alright, about half of y'all. Okay.
Something everyone needs to do. You have fire drills at school, right? Alright. Just like at school, you need to practice at home. Next, we're going to be talking about staying away from hot things. Bill and Cameron are going to help us with that.
It is very important that you stay away from things that could burn you. If your parents are cooking on the stove or in the oven, do not touch. Stand back. I know things that are cooking in the oven smell good, but don't get close until your parents say that it's okay.
Do your parents cook on the grill outside? Cook on the grill?
That's right, Brady. Good call. The same thing applies to cooking outside too. Do not stand too close.
Never, and I mean never, play with matches or a lighter. If you see matches or a lighter laying on the ground, do not touch them. Tell your parents and they will put them away. If you get too close to something that is hot and burn yourself, tell your parents and run cool water over the burned area. But what do you do if your clothes catch on fire?
Does anybody know what to do if your clothes catch on fire?
Stop, drop, and roll. And remember to cover your face with your hands when you're rolling.
Thank you, Bill and Cameron. Next, we're going to be talking about firefighters and the clothes that they wear to protect themselves from the smoke and fire. Cameron and Zach are going to be helping us with that.
Firefighters have to wear protective clothing to keep them safe from the fire and smoke.
Tonka, if you could help us by putting on your fire clothes, that would be very much appreciated.
When firefighters receive an alarm at the firehouse, the first thing they put on are their boots and fire pants to protect their legs and feet.
Tonka, can you show us?
Those are the boots and pants that the firefighters will be wearing to protect their legs and feet.
The next thing they put on is their hood, which protects their neck and ears. They then put on their fire coat, which protects their upper body.
So, is that everything that needs to be protected?
No.
What else needs to be protected?
Face and hands.
That's right. Firefighters need to protect their head, hands, and face as well. But they don't put on their helmet, gloves, and mask until they get to where the fire is.
Tonka, do you think you could show us what it looks like with your helmet, face mask, and gloves on?
That is what firefighters look like when fully protected. The firefighters will also wear a tank on their back, which connects to their mask and feeds them fresh air.
Gonna take that all off?
But Tonka did bring one of those tanks with him today.
Thank you, Cameron and Zach. All firefighters' clothes are made out of a fire-resistant material that allows them to get close to the fire without getting burned, so that they can put out the fire.
Without getting burned?
Now, we're going to go back to what we learned to see if you were paying attention. We're going to use Tonka as our guinea pig. Let's have some fun. If we see Tonka doing something wrong, we need to yell out and tell him, okay? As soon as Tonka's done getting dressed, you'll see what I mean. Okay, Tonka, are you ready? We're going to put Tonka to bed to see if he remembers what to do when the smoke detector goes off. Tonka, go to bed.
No, Tonka, you can't be there. Like, you can't breathe there. Tonka, come back.
Come back. Tonka, come back. You can't breathe there. Come on. You gotta come back.
That's Egypt. No, that's Egypt. Come on, you gotta go. Go. That's supposed to go to the moon. Tonka, come on, let's go to bed.
I kind of liked it. It was fun.
Tonka, that's Disney World. Okay, you're still in Disney World. What are you doing?
That's that way. That's that way.
Alright? Let's go to our place.
Oh boy, am I tired. You know, I should get some sleep tonight. Here we go. What was that? The smoke detector! The smoke detector's going off! I forgot what to do!
Pause. Who knows what he did wrong?
That's a smoke detector. I gotta roll out of bed and stay low. Go to the door so I can get out. Ah! It's hot up in my hand!
Pause. Alright. Does anybody know what he did wrong there?
That's right. You want to feel it with the back of your hand.
Oh, the door's hot. That means there must be fire on the other side. And I can't get out the door. And I live on the second floor and I can't get out the window. What do I do? What do I do? I know. I'll hide under my bed.
Should Tonka hide under his bed? No! That's right, you guys should never hide under your bed, okay?
Stay close to your bed.
Uh-oh, the door's hot. There must be fire outside. And I live on the second floor. What do I do? What do I do? I know. I'll go hide in my closet.
Is he supposed to hide in his closet? No! Never hide in your closet, never hide under your bed. When there's a fire, you stay low and stay near your bed, and the firefighters will come get you.
The door's hot. That means there's fire outside. I know what I'll do. I'll go lay down by my bed and wait for help.
You did it right that time, right? All right, Tonka, you can come on back.
How did I do?
Okay. I have one more thing for you. Let's say you're cooking on the grill and you get too close. Your clothes catch on fire. What do you do? Why don't you show us?
What do I do?
What should he do, guys? tell him that. When I point at you, yell stop, drop, and roll. Tonka, don't forget to cover your face too. All right, Tonka, you can go. I think you can come back.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Come on. Any questions? Questions? That's called the magic of Well, that door over there is to Disneyland, and we went through it and went to Disneyland.
Can we go to Disneyland?
I don't know. This Taylor would have to say something. So, you stop, drop, and roll, and when you roll around, you're patting out the fire. So, like, when you're rolling around like this, the fire is going to stop catching on your clothes and put it out. Know your address.
Know your address.
Know your address.
Have large,
visible street numbers.
Have large, visible street numbers.
What is that?
Okay, listen, there's about 4 or 5 firemen outside, and they have their fire truck, okay? And we really, really need to listen to the firemen and Brady, and we just can't just go jump on the fire truck, okay? We have to keep our hands down, and we're gonna walk around and look, and then we'll be given some instructions if we can touch or get on the truck, things like that. So we're gonna walk out nice and slowly, and we're gonna wait for our instructions. Do you have anything to say before we walk out?
We do have some fire hats for y'all to wear too, so y'all can be like real firemen.
Did you guys like it? Yeah, did you think it was funny?
I'm gonna play Firefighters when I get home.
Well, and I tell stories about him all the time because he was fussy on what he ate. It had to be just right. I was assigned with him. I learned how to cook from some pretty good guys, and I still don't have Coop's chicken recipe. Nobody's got that. That's never been duplicated, but
kept that well hidden.
Yeah, he did. We tried, but.